we'll get started in a standing position. So bring your feet at least hips width distance apart. And you can always measure that by bringing 2 fists in between your feet. And then if you feel like you want a little bit wider stance, you can take that. Just have a little micro bend in your knee, in your knees. And either bring the palms to face forward, hugging the shoulder blades together for power. So if you're looking to stand more in your power, palms face forward. If you're coming to the mat today feeling as though your mind is wandering, you're feeling a little flighty, bring both hands to your belly. And then the last option here is to keep one hand on the belly and bring one hand to the heart if you're looking to tap into or acknowledge some feelings or emotions. And then wherever you want to be, find that hand position and just bring the eyes to a gentle close. Hug the shoulder blades gently together behind you, standing up just a little bit taller. And then starting with the belly, just let the belly be free and natural. And then move to the feet. Really feel the feet rooting into the ground. So feel all 4 corners. Maybe take a moment to press that big toe in for a moment and then let it go. And then bring the attention to the crown of the head, gently drawing it up toward the sky. So feet are connected. Belly is free. Crown of the head reaches toward the sky. And we'll just take 10 deep breaths here at your own pace. Make the last few breaths really deep and intentional. We'll take one last breath in this position. Inhale, fill the belly up. And exhale, let it back out. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Gaze follows. Gently flutter the eyes open, taking in the light and reaching out of the fingertips. And then exhale, bring the arms down by the side. Forward fold here. Grab opposite elbows. Gently sway from side to side. And then release the elbows, bring the fingertips down to the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to make connection with the mat. And then just straighten your legs any amount. Allowing the belly to be free. Press into the fingertips, energizing the arms and gently pulling the shoulder blades apart. Then begin to bend the knees even more deeply until your seat comes down to the ground. And then come all the way onto your back. Knees are bent up toward the sky. And just readjust in any way that you need to. Draw the arms out to the side, either in a T or a cactus. And once again, draw those shoulder blades together a couple of inches. So the heart is shining up toward the sky. And then bring the right ankle to cross the left thigh, coming into figure 4. And really press into the left foot. So maybe you get a little bit more connection with the lower back and the sacrum down on the mat. And then begin to rock on that left foot to the outer edge of the foot, back through center to the inner edge of the foot. So that figure 4 is rocking from side to side, but not so deeply that you're probably going to touch that right sole of the foot to the ground. It'll stay hovered as that ankle stays connected to the left thigh. And then see if you can keep both shoulders on the mat, keeping the top of the body somewhat effortless. Just rocking from side to side. And then the next time you roll to the outer edge of the left foot, keep rolling over so that this time the right sole of the foot finds the ground beside you. Right knee faces up toward the ceiling. And if you're finding that difficult at all, you can use your left hand just for some gentle pressure to keep it upright. Gaze goes over the right shoulder. Relax the shoulders into the mat. Relax the face. And relax the belly. One more breath. And then rock it back to center, keeping that right foot flexed, right ankle crossed over the left. Readjust the sacrum or tailbone if you need to. And then flex through the left toes. So the toes are in the air and the heel is on the mat. And just begin to slide that heel outward. So the left leg is straight. And then draw it back in, bending the left knee, sole of the foot comes back to the ground. And just take a few of those, sliding that left heel out. Mine's kind of a bumpy slide, but as smooth as you can make it. And you'll notice that there is a arch of the spine as you extend. So you'll find that natural curvature in the lower back. And then as you bend, you might find more of a connection in that lower back as you reset. So just take a couple more rounds of this. And you can move as slow or as fast as your body is calling for. And then the next time your left knee comes to bend, leave it there. Draw the sacrum, lower back down toward the mat. So there's no space in between your spine and the mat. And then begin to draw that figure 4 closer to the body and extend the left leg long so that the left sole of the foot is facing the sky. Make sure that your spine is connected with the mat. And you can stay right here, or you can begin to lower that extended figure 4 down to the mat and then drawing it back up. So if you're taking this movement, even if you're not, you should feel your abs are engaged. Because that sacrum is in connection. So just raising and lowering the left leg. Make sure the right sole of the foot is connected to the left thigh. So just continue to raise and lower. Just take a couple more rounds. And then the next time your sole of the foot comes back up toward the sky, keep it there. And re-bend the left knee, bringing it back to the mat. And uncross the right foot from the thigh. From here, bring the left sole of the foot over the right thigh. So coming into that figure 4. And just stay here for a moment. Press into the right sole of the foot. Flex through the left toes. And then you can begin to rock to the outer edge of the right foot. And then to the inner edge of the right foot, just finding that gentle sway from side to side. Moving at your own pace. Trying to keep the shoulders connected, the top half of the body effortless. And the next time you come to the outer edge of the right foot, continue over so that the left sole of the foot finds the ground beside you. And if you need that little kickstand of your right hand, no shame in using it, just so that that left knee tracks toward the ceiling. And then gaze over the left shoulder. Relax the belly here, relax the shoulders. And then bring it back to center. Right sole of the foot is connected to the mat. Still in a figure 4. Resetting the spine in any way that you need to. And then flex through the right toes. Really flex through the right toes. And slide or bump the heel down toward the bottom of the mat, extending the right leg. And then draw it back. Right sole of the foot finds connection with the mat. So slide it out and back in at your own pace, just noticing the change in the curvature of the spine as you move your leg. And then finish the round you're on. The next time the right knee comes back to bent, keep it there. And then raise the right sole of the foot off the mat to draw the figure 4 in closer to you and extend the right leg, right sole of the foot faces the sky. So from here, really connect the back to the mat. So by doing that, you're already engaging the core a little bit, and you can stay right here, or you can begin to lower the right leg down to the mat and then draw it back up. Lowering and raising it, or just staying still. Take a few rounds of breath in whatever you decide to do, making sure that that back stays connected and that you continue to breathe, which sometimes I forget to do when my abs are engaged. Let's take one more round. And then the right sole of the foot faces the sky. Rebend that right foot, bringing it back to the mat. And then both soles of the feet back to the mat. Bring the arms down by the sides. Draw the heels in close enough to tickle them with your fingertips. And we'll just take a couple rounds of bridge here. So start by just drawing the shoulder blades a little bit together. And then as you inhale, press into the feet, lower back, middle back, upper back comes with you. I like to draw my arms up ahead, but you can keep them down by the sides, your choice. And then as you exhale, slowly roll down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Take 2 more rounds. And after you finish those rounds, just find the connection with the mat, press into the feet, but keep everything lowered down to the mat. And then allow the spine to find its natural curve and draw both knees into the chest, staying here, or reach for the outer edges of the feet for happy baby. And take a moment with the knees into the chest or in happy baby to tune back in to either the power, the grounding, or the emotion that you identified at the beginning of class. And then everyone hug the knees into the chest, reach behind the thighs, take a couple rock and rolls, eventually coming all the way into a forward fold. And once again, connecting the fingertips to the mat and folding forward, bend the knees as much as you need to. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Reach the arms out, up and overhead. Gaze follows, palms come to touch. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale the arms out and up. And exhale as you hinge forward, plant the palms, step it back into plank pose. Always an optional vinyasa. We'll start with knees, so bring the knees down to the ground. Find your sway back and then bend the elbows so that the chest and chin come down. And then you can push yourself forward into baby cobra. Exhale to release. And then tuck the toes. First, downward facing dog. Pedal it out, or stay in stillness. Connect with the breath here. So we're going to take a few rounds of sun salutation, and I'll walk you through the next one, and then the following rounds will be on your own. So from here, step, hop, or float your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out and up, palms touch. And exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale the arms out, and up. And then hinge at the hips as you fold forward to plant the palms, step it back into plank pose, and take your version of vinyasa. You can take knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, or skip it all together. So take 3 more rounds of Sun A. You can watch me, but don't be afraid to make a mistake or skip something. It doesn't matter. It's your practice. So step, hop, or float to the top of the mat and move through your sun salutations with your breath. And when you're done with the round that you're on, we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Once you get to downward facing dog, and there's no rush to get there, let the heels track toward the mat, press into the palms, and send the hips high to the sky. From downward facing dog, find your way once again to the top of the mat. Forward fold, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead, palms touch. This time as you exhale, cactus the arms, gaze can stay up or wherever it's comfortable. And then inhale the arms up and overhead, and exhale to release them down by the side. So find your feet at hips width distance apart, and we'll tune back in either to power by facing the palms forward, or grounding by bringing both palms to the belly, or connection with an emotion or feeling by bringing one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And then close the eyes. Let the belly be free. Feet are rooted into the mat, and crown of the head reaches toward the sky. And connect with the reason why you chose power, grounding, or emotion. And as we move through the rest of practice, see if you can draw that intention in to your movement and into your breath. Connecting with yourself in any way that you have chosen. One more deep breath. Fill up the belly. Exhale, let it out of the mouth. Inhale the arms up and overhead. Gaze follows. Flutter the eyes open. and then sink down into chair pose. So bend the knees deeply. Make sure that you can still see your big toe, and then tuck that tailbone a little bit under. And from here, root into your right foot as the left leg comes up to 90 degrees, twist. Well, find your balance first, and then twist over toward the left, T arms. And then inhale it back to center, and send the left leg long behind you, finding yourself in a high lunge. So the left leg is behind, right leg is nice and bent, high lunge here. And then T twist over toward the right. Bring it back to center, and then root down into that right foot. As you step it through, bring the left foot forward 90 degrees and twist over toward the left. Inhale back to center. Send the left leg back, high lunge. Always finding your rooting down, your balance before moving, and then twist over to the right. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale back to center, high lunge. Bring the left leg forward to 90 degrees, root down into the right foot, and then twist over to the left. Inhale back to center. Send the left leg back, high lunge. Twist over to the right. Arms are long. Inhale, arms back to center. Root into the right foot. Left leg drags forward 90 degrees. And then twist it over to the left. We'll do one more round on this side. Inhale, arms back to center. Left leg back. And twist over to the right. This time as you we'll bring your arms back to center, and then step the left leg forward, come back into chair pose. Tuck that tailbone. And then root down into the left foot, and right leg rises to 90 degrees. Find your balance, and then twist over to the right. Arms back to center. Send the right leg all the way back. And if you need to scoot it back a little, that's fine too. Find your balance, twist over to the left. Arms back to center. Root into the left foot. Right foot comes to 90 degrees. Twist over to the right. Arms back to center, right foot back, high lunge, open up to the left. Arms back to center, right foot 90 degrees, twist over to the right. Arms back to center, right foot back, and twist. Arms to center, right foot forward, and twist to the right. Arms overhead, right foot back, and twist to the left. Bring the arms overhead, and this time just step the right foot forward, chair pose. Tuck the tailbone, use the glutes here, and then straighten the legs, rise up. Exhale to swan dive forward, plant the hands, and step it back into plank pose. Hold here. You can always lower the knees down. Wherever you are, be strong, be intentional. And then scoot the left hand toward the center and roll to the outer edge of the left foot, inner edge of the right foot. Find a side plank here. Right arm can be in the sky, down on your hip. So my feet are staggered at the bottom of my mat. If you want to stack your feet, or if you want to find any other variation that you're feeling today, go for it. And then bring the right arm back down to the ground. Reset your plank pose. Toes are tucked. And then scoot the right hand toward the middle. As you find your side plank to the other side, left arm goes high to the sky. Find your footing that works for you. And you can even have a knee down too. One more breath. And then bring it back to your plank pose, making sure that your wrists are below your shoulders. And then just lower your knees down, untuck your toes. Take a round of cat-cow. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the spine, drop the crown of the head. And then come back to center. From here, send the, make sure your toes are untucked. And just identify the shoelace part at the top of your right foot and drag it to the back of the mat. So the shoelace part of your foot is still in connection with your mat, and you'll keep that part of the foot in connection. So as you inhale, drop the belly, you can lift the gaze and drag that foot forward. And as you exhale, you can round the spine to send it back. So inhale, cow, right leg bends forward. And exhale, cat, right leg goes back. So take 3 more rounds of this. Staying pressed into the palms. And then send that right leg back behind you. And just bring it back to the mat, tabletop pose. Rock the hips from side to side. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So really get strong in your tabletop first. And then the top of the left foot gets sent to the back of the mat. And as it bends forward, find your cow pose. And then as you exhale, cat, top of the foot, back of the mat. So take 4 more rounds. When you finish your 4 rounds, extend the left leg and then bring it back to tabletop. Take a round of cat-cow. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the spine, drop the crown of the head, and then bring the toes together, knees wide, child's pose. Arms out long in front of you. You can drop the forearms to make it a little less active or to give your arms a break, or you can stay up on your fingertips to get a little bit into the upper back. We'll spend 5 rounds of breath here. And then press into the palms, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And readjust your feet in any way that you need to. I needed to scoot mine back a little. Press into the palms, track the heels down toward the mat. And then inhale forward to plank pose. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Drop the heels. Inhale forward to plank. Press into the palms and back to downward facing dog. We'll take 3 more. You can move at your own pace, keeping that strength and moving fluidly from pose to pose. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. And then inhale the right leg back up behind you and step it through in between the hands. Lower the left leg down and untuck the toes. Just notice what this feels like here. And then inhale the arms up and overhead. Exhale to twist over to the right. Find those long T arms again and drop the shoulders away from the ears, releasing any tensions there. Inhale the arms back up and overhead. Exhale to reframe the right foot. Tuck the left toes, knee comes up off the mat. Inhale up into high lunge, and then twist over to the right. Stay nice and low. Inhale the arms up and overhead. And exhale to frame the right foot. Step the left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center. Close the eyes for just a moment. Bring the thumbs onto the sternum bone. Tapping into your intention. Inhale, the arms up and overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Plant the hands, step it back into plank pose. Optional vinyasa here. I'm going to skip it, but feel free to take it. And we'll meet back in downward facing dog. And then inhale the left leg back up behind you and step it through in between your hands. Immediately lower the right leg down, untuck the toes. Notice that right hip flexor. How could you not notice it? And then bring the arms up and overhead and twist over to the left. Inhale the arms up and overhead. And then reframe the left foot, tuck the right toes, knee comes up off the mat. Get really strong as the arms come up and overhead for high lunge. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. And then twist over to the left. Inhale the arms up and overhead. Reframe the left foot. Drag the right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then just round the spine as you rise all the way back up to standing. Draw the shoulders up to the ears and roll them back down. Shoulders up to the ears, roll them back, and then roll them the other way. So shoulders up to the ears and then roll it forward. And then from here, inhale the arms up and overhead. And exhale, the hands behind you, find a clasp here, interlacing the fingers, and then draw that clasp down the back so that the heart shines forward. You have a nice arch in that spine. And bring the feet as wide as your mat. So as wide as the short edges of your mat. Look up and bend the knees, hinge at the hips, folding forward. Fist goes high to the sky. And then you can begin to really bend those knees. Belly comes in between and on the thighs. And then straighten the legs any amount. Let the head hang heavy. Legs are as straight as is comfortable. And then bend the knees. Once again, belly comes onto the thighs. Head is dropped toward the mat. Unclasp the fingertips and bring them down to the mat. And then straighten those legs any amount, but still keeping the fingertips in connection with the mat. And from here, roll through the spine to come all the way up to standing. Inhale the arms up and overhead. And then clasp the hands behind you again. Find that opposite clasp. So funky thumb on the top. And then send the clasp down the back. Heart shines forward. Gaze goes up. And then bring the gaze back to center and walk the feet back in to hips width distance apart. Bend the knees slightly, hinge at the hips, folding forward, fist goes toward the sky, shoulder blades are drawn together, and drop the head. And then bend the knees deeply here. Belly comes onto the thighs, and then straighten the legs any amount. One more time, bend the knees and release the clasp, bringing the hands back to the mat. Fingertips stay in connection here as you straighten the legs. So your knees can be really bent, but you should still feel some stretch in the back of the legs. Press into those fingertips to draw the shoulder blades apart. And then begin to walk the hands forward and return to downward facing dog. Hips are high to the sky. Roll forward into plank pose and back into downward facing dog. Rolling forward into plank and back into dog. One more time, forward into plank and back into dog. And then just step that right foot forward in between the hands. Drop the left knee, untuck the toes, rise up into low supported lunge. And then cactus, the arms look up overhead. Inhale the arms up overhead, twist over toward the right. Hands back to center, frame that right foot, tuck the left toes, runner's lunge, and then press into the feet to rise up, high lunge. Once again, cactus the arms, look up. Arms come up overhead, twist over toward the right. Inhale the arms up and overhead. And exhale to reframe. Once again, lower that left leg down, left knee down, untuck the toes. And then you can begin to twist the body over toward the right thigh. And you can stay there, or you can bend that left knee and reach for the left foot. Really twisting through the belly wherever you are. If you reached for the foot, let it go. Everyone reframe the right foot. Tuck the left toes and step it back. Downward facing dog. Give it a little pedal out here. And then step the left foot forward. Lower the right knee, untuck the toes. Inhale it up. And then cactus the arms in this low supported lunge. Inhale the arms overhead, and the exhale, twist over to the left. Twist through that belly. And then inhale the arms overhead. Reframe the left foot, tuck the right toes, knee comes up as you rise up into high lunge. Cactus the arms and look up. Arms overhead, twist over to the left. arms overhead. Reframe the left foot, lower the right leg, right knee, untuck those toes. And then you can begin to twist the belly over toward the left thigh. And if you'd like to, you can bend the right knee, reaching for the right foot. Wherever you are, make sure to stay nice and lifted so you're not sinking into the shoulders. And then if you reached for the right foot, let it go. Everyone reframe the left foot and tuck the right toes, meeting back in downward facing dog. Pedal it out. And from here, we'll take 3 rounds of sun salutation. Step, hop, or float your way to the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale the arms out and up. And hinge at the hips, folding forward. Plant the hands, step it back to plank pose. Move through a vinyasa of your choice, or we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Take 2 more rounds of that. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. I'm not going to walk you through them. And then whenever you're done, take your time, take a few breaths in downward facing dog. From here, drop your knees down to the mat, coming into tabletop pose. Root down into that left palm as you float the right arm up to the sky. And exhale to float it under the left arm. Inhale it back out to the side. Exhale to float it under. And inhale back out. And this time, as you float it under, let it land. Coming into thread the needle here. So the right shoulder is on the mat. And the left palm can stay where it is. You can walk it out. You can find a bind, whatever works for you. I like to walk it out and then reach for the edge of my mat. Let yourself settle in here. Close your eyes, let your face be soft. And then if your hand is walked out or bound, bring it back in so that the left palm is on the mat. Slowly unwind that right arm, floating it back up to the sky. And then back to the mat. And then root down into the right palm as the left arm floats out to the side. And exhale to float it under the right. Inhale it up and out. And exhale to float it under. Inhale it out. And exhale, this time let it land. Left shoulder on the mat. And right arm wherever it feels comfortable. Close your eyes. Relax your belly. Bring your right palm back to the mat. Slowly unwind that left arm, float it out to the side. And exhale, bring it back to the mat. One round of cat-cow. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the spine. And then come back to sit on your heels for just a moment. Bring your hands to your thighs. Draw the shoulders up to the ears and roll it back down. And then come to a seat here where one foot is in front of the other. So you're not crossed here, but rather the feet are staggered. And you can have the feet in close to you, or you can move them out a little bit wherever it feels comfortable. And if you feel like your knees are really high off the mat, you can roll your mat for a little support, or you can use a prop. So inhale the arms up and overhead here. And then keep that nice long spine as you hinge at the hips, folding forward, plant the fingertips out in front of you. So press into the fingertips to keep that spine long, and then make sure that your seat is connected with your mat as well. And you can stay right here, or you can begin to walk your hands out, allowing the breath to guide you. All the while rooting into the fingertips, rooting in through the seat, and tapping in to your power, your calm, or your emotion. And then walk your hands back in, coming back up to a tall seat. And just switch the order of the feet, so the other foot is in front. Inhale the arms up and overhead. Rooting down through those sits bones as you land the fingertips out in front of you. Press into the fingertips and then begin to walk the hands out. Letting yourself settle and knowing that it might be a different settling point from the first side, and that's all right. Let's take a couple more rounds of breath here. And then walk the hands back in. You can use the hands to help you get your feet on the mat and your knees facing the ceiling, and just roll down onto your back in any way that you want to get there. Sweep the arms out to the side into a cactus or a T, and bring the feet as wide as the mat. Just knock the knees over toward the left. Gaze over the right shoulder. And you can bring the left foot on top of the right thigh if you want a little bit more stretch through the thigh, hip, lower back. Or you can keep them separated. And then relax through the shoulders, relax through the fingertips. See if you can relax through the lower back and the hips. And just let your legs be heavy. If you've hooked the foot, unhook it. And then bring the knees and the gaze back to center. Feet are still as wide as the mat. And knock the knees over toward the right. Gaze over the left shoulder. And if you'd like to hook the foot, the right foot on top of the left thigh, you can do that. And then settle in. Unhook the foot. Draw the knees and gaze back to center. And then draw the knees into the chest. You can give yourself a little roll from side to side or take some knee circles. And then if you'd like a happy baby, or if you'd want to send your feet to the sky or any other shape or pose before we enter Shavasana, take a few breaths to do that. And whenever you're ready, bring the feet to the bottom of the mat, nice and wide. And find that hand position, either arms out wide with palms face up for power, both hands to the belly for grounding and calm, or one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart, tapping into an emotion that you are ready to acknowledge. Draw the shoulder blades gently under you. Heart shines toward the sky, eyes come to close. And we'll be here for just a couple of minutes. Let yourself settle in. On the next inhale, bring the breath all the way down to the belly and fill it up. Exhale it gently out the mouth. Take some small movements in the fingertips and toes. Send the arms long overhead. Point the toes down toward the bottom of the mat. Take a big stretch. And then take a moment to take any other movement that you want to before you roll to one side. Take a full round of breath in fetal position. And then rise up to a seat. Bring the hands to heart center, eyes closed. Just taking one more moment to feel the connection of your intention. Tapping into why you chose that intention and how you might bring it off the mat and into the world as we end our practice today. Namaste.